The Meta Quest Lite, a headset that could genuinely take the world by storm by introducing the entire world to mass-adopted and cheap VR and AR. With now more concrete links and information in regards to this headset and a potential release date of early 2024, the Quest Lite could not only dominate the European and US, but even the Chinese market, with a mind-blowing deal with Tencent that could rival the mighty company that is ByteDance. Strap in, because this is everything we know about the Meta Quest Lite. So this is a render of the Meta Quest Lite, a headset due to be released next year. And before we get into the details like specs and design, we are going to dive into why this device is significant and how it could really shift the trajectory of VR and spread mass adoption worldwide. I'll leave timestamps in the description for those who want to skip ahead, but I believe what's happening at the moment between Meta and China has the potential to push VR into a whole new realm. And this could be a massive move for Western companies like Meta to enter what has essentially been uncharted territory. So the most difficult market to conquer, and arguably one of the most lucrative, has always been China, the home of pretty much every device we use, and with a population of 1.4 billion, selling in China has been incredibly difficult due to things like regulatory hurdles, privacy concerns, and political obstacles. The lucrative nature of China has led companies like Tesla to quite literally redesign entire products just to appeal to new markets. And this is why I believe the Meta Quest Lite exists in the first place. With a lower than average wage, you have to make a cheaper product to sell to the Chinese audience. And with a supposed price of $199, that puts it at an unheard of price since the Oculus Go, which coincidentally, a variant of the Go was also sold in China. But what is the deal between Meta and China? How have they repaired the distance between them? If you didn't already know, Meta has essentially been banned from China since 2009 due to things like censorship and control of information. But recently Zuck has managed to strike a deal with the Chinese company Tencent. Now the information of the deal actually tells us more about what kind of headset this will be. We do have leaked specs that vary from source to source, but the deal in my opinion gives us the clearer picture. Tencent will be taking the larger cut of content sales, leaving Meta with essentially mostly revenue from device sales. Now, the reason this is a big deal and why it tells us what kind of device this will be is because VR headsets are incredibly expensive to make. The device cost alone of the Quest 3 is roughly $430, and that's just the material cost. Meta essentially does not make money from their devices, and what they are doing with the Chinese market is using it to springboard for VR. More games means more sales, more developers, which means more AAA titles for us. This is clearly a long-term goal of Meta by sacrificing their main source of revenue. But what actually is the Quest Lite? I've talked about this on a few of my previous videos, but with more solid information, we get a pretty good idea. To be honest with you, these specs are something that would suit the majority of the audience, and if we had the option between the Quest 3 and the Meta Quest Lite, the price difference alone would make the Lite an incredible option. From what it seems, we'll be getting a headset with the same processing chip as the Quest 3, the XR2 Gen 2, but potentially the binned versions. If you didn't already know, not all chips are made equally. Manufacturers often test chips for performance and sort them into different categories, a process called binning. Chips that perform better might be sold as higher end models, while those with weaker performance might be sold as lower end models. And rumours suggest this will be the case for the XR2 Gen 2 chip. We'll be getting the bin versions for the Quest Lite, so the chips will underperform in comparison to the Quest 3, which also aligns with the lower price tag. The Lite will also be focusing on making this just a VR device, so no colour pass-through or depth sensor, which makes sense as they can use the same components as the Quest 2. Also, they will be returning to the old Fresnel lenses that were in the Quest 2. Reports also show this could be sold without controllers and weigh 40% less than the Quest 3, which is slightly confusing as the Fresnel lenses are denser and have a larger overall volume. To me, all these specs make sense at that price point of $199. We know Meta does not make much on hardware, and to use manufacturing lines that have already been well established for previous Quest devices, this will significantly lower the cost for a device using the same parts. But the fact Meta is taking a nosedive into the Chinese market, and at that price point, leaves one company in particular in huge trouble. But just quickly, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Arbica. This is the Cybercore, a charging dock for your VR headset and other accessories. It comes with multiple magnetic charging options and this handy internal storage compartment. Now, I chose this sponsor because I could never find a good place to put my headsets, and now with the Cybercore, I can essentially make a showpiece out of it whilst charging my other devices too. Now, Arbica don't just make the Cybercore, they also sell other accessories like battery head straps and cases for the Quest 3. And so if you'd like to check them out, I'll list all the products and discount codes in the description down below. But let's get back to the video. Let's zoom out and look at the global VR scenario. Meta's entry into the Chinese market with an affordable headset could redefine the VR market. But it's not just about Meta. Let's talk about Pico. Amidst rumours of shutdowns and layoffs, this rivalry isn't about just who sells more VR headsets. It's a battle of innovation, making VR more accessible and shaping the future of virtual experiences. Meta's strategy to enter the Chinese market at a cheaper price than probably Pico could ever afford is going to seriously affect the VR landscape in time to come. Pico was meant to be the big competition to Meta, but to be honest, things don't look great. The Quest Lite really does have the potential to push Pico further out of the competition and may even lead to a complete shutdown of the company. I really hope this isn't the case, as I still do hold out hope for the Pico 5 and its variants, because if this holds even slightly true, then Meta will once again have some good competition. But it's definitely becoming clearer that Meta is becoming a VR monopoly. And at this point, there are only a handful of companies that can challenge this reign. What do you all think about the Quest Lite? Something you'd be interested in? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you like the video, like and subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.